Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Great that you're here. Honestly, it is awesome. And ultimately, if you're new to cryptocurrency, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button. And while you're at it, slap on a like. Now, let's talk about the news. What has happened this week? It is Friday already. What a quick week it has been. And it's been quite a good week in retrospect of what you're seeing now. Prices have obviously tumbled a little bit. The natural correction. If you check out the card above here at some point, you will see that I was calling for a correction, and I even mentioned this level as a potential area where it could go down to, but I think it will break below that because the support isn't as good compared to the 6,000 mark. So we could be going back to 6.4 regions again. Now, let's get into it. We're just going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about the likes of Tron, Bakkt. We're going to talk about blooming Microsoft, Tether, the lot. So we're going to go through it, and good and bad news in this one, but ultimately it is all good. See you in a sec. Right then, I've already mentioned tumbling down a little bit, a bit of a natural correction. It was due. It's been a long while, and when I put up the chart very quickly, this is the daily chart, XBT, basically Bitcoin. Ultimately, we've been trending up for a while. Okay, start of April, I've done this fib point from, but you could go even further from February time. Top and bottom is we've hit a point. We've hit a point of significance, and we're starting to tail back up a little bit. Not ultimately that much at the moment. We'll see how the rest of the market reacts. You may see it bounce back up off this point, as if we're not closed yet. But I will be targeting a closure around this region at some point. Personal opinion, not fact. Short time frames are a bit different. It's on certain fib areas on different time frames. You should be aware of that. But ultimately, when you look at even the bottom, so if I just really change this a little bit, that is from the start of the bottom, essentially. Well, kind of ish, give or take. If you believe that is bottom, I do. I think that's bottom. If this holds a support, even if in this region or down to this region here, and it carries on and goes up again, it would fully 100% confirm that the bottom is in my personal honest opinion. It needs to test these lower areas of support to see if they are support, so be mindful of that. As I've always said it, don't jump in, don't FOMO in. I said it yesterday in the video, do not FOMO in. It was a burn zone yesterday. I was 100% right. We were due for a natural retracement. It was coming. We were hitting that 8K region. 8K is a big bit. It's a big bit of mud that we've got to get through. We sliced through the hard stuff, the 6.4 region, the 7.2 region. We sliced through it and went all the way up to 8K, for God's sake. We were due to come down. So I'm hoping you didn't get itchy fingers and went and jumped into everything. Obviously, retracements happen. Now, one thing I want to say, if you look to the right-hand side of the screen, the Bitcoin value of these coins are holding significantly. I mentioned it again yesterday about Bitcoin dominance. It is coming down at a rate of knots compared to where it was, but ultimately it's going to allow the Satoshi values to catch up. In April they slid off a cliff, and you need to understand that they will catch up. If Bitcoin goes up from here and the altcoins go with it, the Satoshi values will be greater. It'll be good. So you can see here, Litecoin 7% down in US dollars. It's up in Bitcoin because the value proposition of Litecoins beating currently the Satoshi value. So there we go. Other things to make note of. Yes, it looks pretty awful. It does when you look at that, but always change your chart to BTC. It doesn't look too bad when you go to BTC. You can see Cosmos, for example, is doing very, very well. Tezos is doing well. Crypto.com. Chainlink has got some really good rumors. I'm not going to talk about rumors on this channel, just I don't want to get people's hopes up, but there's been a very significant rumor circulating about Chainlink. We're going to just talk about mainstream, proper, verified news at the minute. I don't want to go too excited with it and get you all hopes up when it becomes nothing. That would not be good for business. Now, just be mindful of what you look at on here. There's certain elements on here that is good and some bad. Remember, it's just an API database, but ultimately look and see how things are doing. Now, as you can see, US dollar value, it's perishing. So just be mindful of what you're doing. Not a good day to take any profits, but just hang fire. Right, let's talk about the news. Novogratz. he's a good guy. I like him. I like what he says. I think he's very, very bullish. He's good when you look at news and elements of opinion from the analyst sort of world. And he has basically said that Bitcoin and Ethereum will potentially save the world. In a nutshell, the battle of payments and Web 3.0 has begun. And I currently believe him in certain elements. I said, goodness me, when did I say this? A while back, that I think the next wave up in this parabolic bull cycle we could potentially see, whether it's the end of the year 2020 with the halving and beyond that, will be due to adoption. I think payment adoption will be the thing that will happen. The last bull run was speculation on futures contracts. I think this is usage, institutional money using cryptocurrency as a form of payment and a store of value. I think that is it, adoption. When you go from there up into the realms of the next 5 to 10 years, you could be looking at another cycle down, obviously, because I think it's going to be an almighty bubble again, my personal opinion. I think it'll go right up and people will just sell and it'll just be like, oh my god, it'll go. You could see a 40k Bitcoin and then you could see a 10k Bitcoin. I think that's possible, in my honest personal opinion, not financial advice. That's just because the market is so small, and every market needs that time to grow. It needs that data. It needs the circulation of people. Don't have the people yet, realistically, when you look at it. And I think the next stage will be adoption. People using cryptocurrencies, as in just using it. Not mass adoption, just using it. From there on, you're going to have mass adoption where people are using it all the time. It's more steady. It's a store of value, etc. That is my personal opinion. I've said that for ages. That's what I think it's going to be. That structure. It's going to be next wave will be adoption. So the first wave was technically the first wave was cyberpunks. The second wave was speculation value. Ooh, what is it? The next wave is adoption. People are genuinely using it. The one after that, mass adoption, and then probably after that will be just. I have no idea. That could be 20 years time from now on. We never know. But that's honestly personal opinion. That is what I believe. We'll see what happens. So all this stuff is all good. He's a very well-known figure in the institution of finance. He knows his stuff. He's ran loads of hedge funds. He knows everything. And the fact that he's calling that this is going to solve a big problem in the ecosystem of finance, is going to solve an issue that is undergoing around the whole world, is big. Web 3.0 is required, and ultimately faster payments, cheaper payments, trust systems, it's all a good thing. So that's that. That's good news. It's very bullish. It's nice to actually see some reality in the world of a big person in the finance world. Usually you get the old crusties, not saying that he's an old crusty, but the older guys who have been in banking for a while totally slam cryptocurrencies and want it outlawed. As one thing I've not mentioned in this video that will be mentioned in other videos is Congress, Ben Sherman or whatever he's called, can't even remember, I don't even really care, called that Bitcoin currency should be outlawed. That's just ridiculous. So there we go. I mentioned this the other day. Tron, the former CTO, co-founder apparently, has left the network. This is not really the greatest news in the world. I think it's good news for the rest of the cryptocurrency ecosystem because Tron's a piece of shit, but ultimately it's bearish for Tron holders. I think it looks really bad on the company. People commented on my video about it saying, oh, whatever happens, happens. He probably left in a rage. Yeah, probably did, because Justin Sun's a bit of an arse. But ultimately, if he's claiming what he's claiming, that he is going to build a new Tron and volume network, it could be massively interesting for speculation value and spectators watching it and seeing what happens. If it is better than Tron and Justin Sun decides to piss off more people, they're going to go one place naturally to him. If he's the one who built the network of Tron and did it all from the entirety, and he's been completely mismanaged, or in terms of, I don't know, the way the world goes in companies, I suppose, like totally shafted, really, realistically, it's not going to look good. So I think Justin Sun, personal opinion, has to tread carefully with what he's doing. If he's creating a rival, you do not want to create a rival in business. It's like anything, it usually bites you on the arse. So for me, as an investor in cryptocurrency, I think that this is interesting to watch. I think You know, if he is the brains behind Tron and he's left Tron to build his own, that could be very interesting for Tron's future, in my personal opinion. I think they've got to watch what they're doing. Ultimately, Tron's got a head start. They're already up and away, but, you know, what could this guy pull out the bag? Who knows? Let's talk about Bakkt. Bakkt is the most anticipated thing, I think, in cryptocurrency at the minute. Will it do it? I don't know. We're still waiting. It's all good and happy saying, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to do it. But it's still not even been regulated yet. It's still not even had its full concrete seal of approval. It's due to come out in July. But we've been saying that since January. We've been saying that since March. It's now May. Will we get it in July? Who knows? I think it's a really good move personally, but it needs to have all the correct procedures in place. It needs to have all the bits and bobs, all the paperwork and all the things to make sure it is fully backed and fully regulated and fully sorted and all that good stuff. Personal opinion, I think the market is too small for ETFs, but I think this bridges the gap in an element of how it'll work. I think we need to build the network of the ecosystem in terms of valuation naturally. I don't want to see ETFs come in and go, bang, here's a lot of money, then all you're going to see is, where'd that go? You will see the dildos coming out of people's houses. It'll be ridiculous in terms of green candles. So just for me as a person, I just want to see a natural growth, but I want to see a vehicle of assurance that we know that we can get big money into the market as and when needed. It needs to be placed in a personal way. You cannot have loads of people just throwing money at this market because it will completely crash it. It will completely ruin it. That's just obvious. It's too small. But Bakkt is the one that is just a little bit below it, where it is, yes, it's regulated futures exchange. It's going to be pretty powerful. It's going to get a lot of interest. But yes, it is physical, but it's not going to be fully in the market, if that makes sense. So in terms of how I'm trying to say this, futures is a bit different to the actual asset itself because it's contracts, but it will create a lot of influence and a lot of market manipulation in some ways that a lot of money will be going in and out via this route. So there we go. Bakkt is good, Bakkt is great, but it needs to be managed in a good way that it cannot be used to crash markets, manipulate markets in any such a way, because we're only 230 billion at the end of the day. That could easily be spun the wrong way around. So other things to mention, I mentioned before just about, you know, adoption. This is the one that kind of links it all together. Coinbase has been talking a lot about it in terms of adoption's coming, a lot of stores will be using it and stuff, and yeah, they were bang on the money really in the last few months. And this is a huge step for adoption with the likes of Nordstrom, and the Wholefoods outlet that's mentioned in here is actually owned by Amazon. So very big, you know, markets they're going to be using it. And you've got the likes of Walmart have also been mentioned in the same breath as it. Starbucks as well, using cryptocurrency. It makes it really good. Now, the fundamentals of this is obvious. It's going to take a while for it to really happen. You're going to have little signs installed. Oh, accept Bitcoin. Cool. This is really easy. The reality is not many people are going to do it. They're going to go, where's my bank card? Ching. They're going to do that. They're not going to go, oh, hold on a minute. Let me just put the Coinbase on. Some people will, some people won't. It just depends on now time. Time will matter. Time will happen. And education, obviously, learn about it. And if you're new to cryptocurrency, obviously hit the links below and learn how payments work and ultimately what it matters to you in terms of wallets. So wallets are very important. People need to understand how easy it is to pay with cryptocurrency with the right equipment. Not everyone knows that, so that's a big thing. So it's usable. Cryptocurrency is usable. Yes, more usage you get, the more stable it will be. In reality, as a store of value, certainly for the likes of Bitcoin, Litecoin, the more usage in and out, it will be pretty stable. So that's just kind of how their network works, the mining element and with the difficulty adjustment, personal opinion. But there's enough stable coins out there now to go into Bitcoin, into a stable coin, and use that stable coin very quickly, rapid speed. So that's good. We're moving forward. Another thing, Microsoft, oh my god, has embraced the open community of blockchain developers on Ethereum. Microsoft have been pretty busy. They've been doing a lot of stuff. They've got their own blockchain service, and it's looking likely they're going to be using a lot of stuff on Ethereum. They've openly said they're going to build on Ethereum network as kind of a test module in a way. Open rights to use it. So that's good. The fundamentals are Microsoft is a big player in the market. in the whole technology. Would it be interesting to say that if Microsoft are involved in blockchain, that the whole market is undervalued? Possibly. You've also got rumours of other tech giants coming in. You've got the likes of HTC. We've already got Samsung involved. We've got Microsoft added to the mix now. They're big giants, and what's going to happen with this mass adoption phase and institutional money coming in? They're going to pedal from these directions. It's going to come from the technology side of it, I think, personally. So just, yeah, do your research and have a look. And you've also got the likes of JP Morgan and Chase, we know that, and other elements of banking services that are getting involved. They're starting to look in properly and seeing what is happening. But the whole Microsoft element of this is pretty big, I think. Not to mention your social media, Facebook, their own coin coming. You know, these are elements of vehicles where they're going to get eyeballs, never mind just users. It's just crazy. So people start to turn the screw a little bit in terms of what their opinion is on cryptocurrency. We know that. We're nearly at the end now. I do apologise, this is a long video, but news is good. Trending. Coinbase has been trending in the iOS store and the Android store recently due to the fact of the interest. If you go on Google Trends, you'll see that Bitcoin is trending up. Also, it kind of happens with my channel as well. The more Bitcoin does stuff or rises in channels, my views go up, my subscribers go up. So it's always good to see how people react and ultimately more people searching for stuff. As you can see, let's buy crypto. Oh, how do I do it? Coinbase. Easy, okay. Coinbase isn't always the easiest, by the way, just saying, depending on what country you're in. And that is the lamest article I've ever seen. Look at it. How many words is that? That's pathetic. Ooh. Anyways, another thing to mention, again, I'm going to go on to it, is JP Morgan, Amazon, and Microsoft. Again, Ethereum. These are just elements of what Ethereum is. I mentioned Ethereum is a very good prospect yesterday to buy into. I think Ethereum will go to the moon in the next year or two. It's obvious. It's already done it at the ICO pump. We're going to get blooming institutionalized investment and users using the network by the looks of it. Not complete yet, but they are looking at using the Ethereum blockchain. Microsoft market capitalization is huge. JP Morgan not too far behind it, if not in front. And then you got Amazon. Christ, if you've got 3 of those companies using your blockchain, the aftermath effect of that is going to be money coming through the floodgates of Ethereum. So be mindful of when you are investing in Ethereum. If it starts rocketing to the moon, look for a dip. If it's not going to rocket to the moon and it's still low, do your research. Do a lot of research and understand what on earth Ethereum is. In my honest opinion, it's the sort of coin you should be trading and growing. Do it. Anyways, last but not least, Tether. I hate this stuff. It's a pain in the ass. Ordered to freeze their transfers to Bitfinex by New York Supreme Court. It's getting pretty serious now. So they've ordered that they need to kind of stop doing it and kind of cease usage for the time being, whilst this ongoing investigation is happening. Now, the article's pretty beefy in terms of technical speak, but Tether cannot be loaned at any asset of Bitfinex or any other parties except in the normal course of conducting its business. Cool. Cannot distribute any funds from its reserves to executives, employees, or individuals on payroll. So basically, can't use it to payment of staff. Neither Bitfinex nor Tether are allowed to modify in any way documents asked by the New York Attorney General's office, and then an injunction will expire in 30 days. So essentially what's happening is they're ceasing all usage of it apart from business. So simple as that, really. So they can't print anymore. They can't use it to pay staff. They can't use it to pay bills or any other payroll, executives, etc. Pretty serious. So this is really happening, guys. They are fully looking into it. They're going to see what on earth has happened with Tether and why. I get a lot of crap really on my Tether video. I just said be careful. Don't use Tether and don't use Bitfinex for the time being, just in case the worst happens. It's not bad advice, is it? Let's be honest. A lot of people go, oh, it's fine, it's fine. But it won't be fine if your funds are now frozen forever and you can't get them out and there's a massive injunction on it and they're going to do a massive court case. It's going to be an absolute mind brain of a hellhole. So do not get involved in Bitfinex if you are looking at using it to trade. But if you're using it with money that you cannot afford to lose or cannot afford to get out, don't even risk it because it's not worth it. So there we go. That is all the news for the week. I've rambled on for 20 odd minutes now. I do apologise. It's been a good week. Tomorrow there'll be a video as well. I'm going to do an AMA. I've already got the questions in. There's about 40 odd questions. Oh my god, that's going to be a long video, by the way. So you may need to get your lounge chair out and your popcorn ready for that one. But ultimately it's an AMA and some really, really good questions on there, and it'll kind of bear fruit of what I kind of do. So there we go. If you like this, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell and all that good stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow.